Hi, it's Thursday the 30th of July 2020. I'm just on the northern outskirts of Lyon. Just below me is the Rhone River and the Eurovelo 17 cycle path running alongside it, which I've been following northwards for the last few days. But today I part company with the Eurovelo 17 and I'm travelling northwards to follow the Saône to Chalon-sur-Saône. Today isn't going to be a very scenic day. I'm just leaving Lyon through all the suburbs and industrial estates. It's quite a large city. It's the third largest city in France after Paris and Marseille. It's got a population of just over 500,000. So it's a long journey to get out into the countryside. But it's going to be another nice day. In fact, the forecast for the next few days is going to be well in the temperature's well into the 30s. So I better carry lots of water this week. Friday the 31st of July. Yesterday was a bit of a disaster. There was a detour coming out of Lyon. There was a road closure. I ended up getting completely lost. And then I got a puncture, so I didn't really make much distance yesterday. So I've just camped up in this old plantation. Today I'm continuing up to Masson. Well, I've got an Airbnb booked, but it's going to be another nice day again. So should be a nice day for travelling. The Boulangers open really early in France. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. So my early morning system now, I always get breakfast there. I always get a pain au chocolat and a cold drink. And then the cafes open up at 8 o'clock. And then I can get a cup of coffee then before continuing on with the cycle ride. And my morning coffee, a very affordable €1.40. Some very nice roads again. I can see on the map, I get a good idea, because if they're kind of like arrow straight on the map, you know it's very flat countryside. If they're sort of very squiggly, you know it's going to be a very hilly day. It was quite busy this morning with the rush hour, but now it's gone back to the usual really quiet French roads. So making some distance today. I've just arrived back at the Saône River, or the Saône River, I still don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just a few miles away from Masson. I've booked an Airbnb in a little village just south of the town. And then tomorrow morning I'll be heading into Masson I've got to get an inner tube and do some shopping and have a look at the old town. I was having a look at my map. After Masson, I don't need to travel any further northwards, because just to the west of Masson, about 40-50 miles, is the Loire River and the Eurovelo 6 cycle path. So tomorrow I'll be heading from Masson. It'll take me a couple of days. It's a very hilly route, and there's a lot of forest and hills, so it's good camping country. So tomorrow I'll be heading towards the Loire River, and then I'll be following the Eurovelo 6 to Lyon. Saturday the 1st of August, I've just found out that the town I'm going to is pronounced Macon and not Masson. So today I'm going to Macon. I've actually booked an Airbnb there for 2 nights because I'd like to have a look around the town, and I want to wait for this hot spell to start to cool down a bit, because it gets really hot in the afternoons. So I'm just going to have a couple of days wandering around the town and having a look at a museum that's recommended there. Wednesday the 5th of August 2020, I decided to book 8 nights in Macon because there was a hot spell forecast for the next few days, so I didn't really feel like cycling in very hot weather. And also it's a nice Airbnb I'm staying at, and I'd just like to have a look around the town. It's quite a smallish city, Macon. It's very easy to get around. I read that it's very well known with wine lovers. They produce a lot of Chardonnay in this region, and when I cycled here there are loads and loads of vineyards coming into the town. So there's a museum I'd like to have a look at. There's a couple of old cathedrals and some old houses from medieval times, so I'm just going to cycle into the town centre now and have a look at those. I'm just going to have a look at the old cathedral first. These are the ruins of the old cathedral of Saint Vincent. It was built in the 11th to 14th century, but unfortunately much of it now has been demolished, and there's just the 2 towers and the main entrance, which has been turned into a museum. But they've built a new cathedral of Saint Vincent just to the west of here. This is the main museum in Macon. It's called the Museum of des Ursulines. It's named after a convent. It used to be a convent and they turned it into a museum in the 1960s. So I'm just going to pop in and have a look around. This is a mosaic of a gladiator from the 1st century AD. These are tools and swords that have been found in this region from the Bronze Age. And these are weapons that were used by the Roman army. And these are carvings and statuettes, again from the Roman era. And this is the paintings section. This is La Maison de Bois. It was built between 1490 and 1510, and it's the oldest house in Macon. It's a restaurant nowadays. And this is the Église Saint-Pierre. Sunday the 9th of August. Today I'm cycling along the river to a small town called Tournou. So I've sorted out my SIM card. In my last video I mentioned that I wanted to upgrade my SIM card on my mobile phone so I would have more data for uploading the videos. So I sorted that out. I've actually got a limit of 50 gigabyte in Europe, so that's a month. So that's good enough for uploading videos and listening to the streaming radio. So I'm carrying on in a northeasterly direction now. I'm heading towards Mulhouse, and then from there I'll be deciding which route to cycle towards Germany. Just arrived in the centre of Tournus. I think this abbey is called the Abbey Saint-Philibert. I'm just going to have a look at the signs. So this is the Abbey of Saint-Philibert. It's a Romanesque abbey built from the 11th century up to the 12th century. So I'm just going to go in and have a look. And this is the centre of Tournus, where all the restaurants and cafes are. Monday the 10th of August. It's going to be another boiling hot day today, but I haven't got very far to go. I'm just continuing cycling along the Saône River to Chalon-sur-Saône, where I'll be spending a couple of days. So the Saône River is 473 kilometres long, which is about 294 miles, and its source is in the Vosges region to the northeast of here, and then it flows down to Lyon, where it connects with the Rhône River. And like the River Rhône, the Saône's name is believed to have Celtic origins. There used to be a Celtic tribe here who worshipped a river goddess called Souconna, or S-O-U-C-O-N-N-A, and they gave the name to the river, and over the centuries the name gradually changed to the Saône. I'm following a cycle path called the Blue Way, or La Voie Bleue, and this starts all the way up on the French and Luxembourg border. It follows the Moselle River for a while, and then the cycle route crosses over to the Saône River, where it goes down to Lyon, where of course it will connect to the Via Rhône, which goes down to the Mediterranean coast. But when I get to Chalon-sur-Saône, I'll be going on to the Eurovelo 6 cycle path, and that's the path which goes to Mulhouse and then onwards to Germany. I'm getting quite close to Chalon-sur-Saône now. The last few miles of the cycle route, it leaves the river, and now I'm following a disused railway line cycle path that goes straight into Chalon. Tuesday the 11th of August. Today I'm going to have a look around the old town of Chalon-sur-Saône. This is Port Villiers. This is where in the 19th century steamboats used to stop in the town. And just by the port there's a statue dedicated to a man called Niet. I can't pronounce his surname. But he was born here in 1765, and he invented photography, I think there's a museum here that's dedicated to his work as well. And just across the road is the tourist office, and that was built in 1710, and originally it was a staging post for coaches and wagons where horses were changed and merchandise was stored. And I'm just going to go towards the old town now. I think it's pronounced the Mott House, but this is a house that was constructed from the late 15th to the early 16th century. This is the heart of the old town. This is the very pleasant Place Saint-Vincent and the Cathedral of Saint-Vincent. Wednesday the 12th of August. Today I'm leaving Chalon-sur-Saône along the Eurovelo 6. This is a very familiar path. I was on this cycle route back in February when I cycled from Nantes to Chinon, and for the next couple of days I'll be following it now to Mulhouse. Today I'm just cycling to a small village called Navilly, where I'll be staying at an Airbnb for the night. And then tomorrow I'm cycling to Dole, and I'll be staying there for 2 days, and I'll be hoping to upload my video then. Just arrived in the small village of Navilly. There's not much here, but it's just a really small town. But I'm staying at an Airbnb, which sounds quite nice, and it's right between Chalon-sur-Saône and Dole, and it's not far from the Eurovelo 6, so it's a very useful stopover point. So I'm just going to go and look for my Airbnb now. Another thing which I quite like about travelling in France is that the accommodation is usually a lot cheaper than back in the UK. So this is an Airbnb room I'm staying in. This is the kind of place I quite like. It's just like a self-contained room. There's no kitchenette, but it's got everything else. I've got the television, I've got Wi-Fi, and I've got a shower and a toilet and a sink. And yeah, this is £30 or €34. Back in the UK, this would be about twice that. So very good value for money in France. And I'm about a couple of miles away from the Eurovelo 6, so I think this is probably quite popular with cyclists, this place. So I'm going to have a break now, watch the television, and plan my route to Dole tomorrow morning. So good night. Thursday the 13th of August. Today it's a very easy ride along the river following the Eurovelo 6 to Dole. It would be nice to do the Eurovelo 6 in its entirety one day. It actually runs for 3,653 kilometres, or about 2,270 miles, and it follows 4 rivers. It follows the Loire, some of the Saône, a short section of the Upper Rhine, and almost the entire length of the Danube. And it starts on the Atlantic coast of France and it ends at the city of Constanta in Romania on the Black Sea coast. So it runs through 10 countries, and I would like to do it one day, but I've got so much planned for this year, maybe next year. I was watching a YouTube video about Dole last night, and I was interested to see that it's the birthplace of Louis Pasteur, and the house where he used to live has now been turned into a small museum. So tomorrow I'm going to go and have a look, so I hope it's open, and have a look at some of the other sites of Dole. I've just arrived at the canal of the Rhone to the Rhine, and this connects the River Rhine to the Saône, and then the Saône of course connects with the River Rhone. So it's possible to sail from the North Sea at Holland all the way down to the Mediterranean following this route. So this is where I now part company with the River Saône, and I'm now going to follow the canal all the way to Mulhouse. Just arrived in the centre of Dole. I think I'm going to go straight to my hotel now. It's a couple of miles outside of the town centre, and then I'm going to have a really good look around the old town tomorrow. So I'm just going to look for a supermarket now and head for my hotel.